out the rock tumbler that's filled with chert. So I've got my barrel here. I'm gonna go ahead and dump it in. There we go. All right, so this is a mix of chert and quartz. It's been in here for anywhere from a week to many months. Let's just clean it off real quick. So last week was a bit of a disaster. I forgot to put water in the tumbler, so it made a huge mess. This week, though, everything seems to have gone fine. All right. I think it's pretty close to clean. All right, let's see how everything did this week. Alrighty. All right, hopefully some of these are ready to move on to the next stage now, but we'll find out. There we go. Let's move the light over here to our table. All right, let's check on a couple of my favorites first. So let's start with this one that's been in here forever. Is never gonna finish. So this is that nice classic piece of chert. It's got these really cool bands that I'm excited to see it polished. It's getting closer. There's some new crack. Piece fractured off there. But yeah, that's gonna need more time. So it'll go back in. Then here's probably my second favorite. Let's clean it a little better. Here we go. So this is chert. Again, I got it from Rockingham County. This one's got kind of a cool, I wonder if that's like a vein of quartz running through it. But yeah, this one's getting super close. It's one of the biggest pieces I've ever tumbled. But it's still got this side over here that needs to smooth out. Hello. So yeah, that one's gonna go back. So let's see what's next. Let's go with this one. So last week, this big chunk over here broke off and it started to smooth out. There's still, ooh. I'm kind of surprised that hasn't broken yet. This one's gonna end up breaking into like a dozen pieces at some point. Kind of very surprised it hasn't broken yet. All right, let's see, next up. Here's another one. This one's quite a bit like, so this is the one we started off with. This one is very similar, but it has more fine banding pattern. It's also pretty big. I'm not sure how I'm gonna finish tumbling this one if it stays big. So normally I use a small barrel for the next stages. So right now these rocks have all gone through the first rough grit at least once, maybe a dozen times, depending on which one. This one's been in here since the beginning. It was a mess when it first went in, but it's actually pretty good now. So it goes through the rough grit over and over and over again until it's nice and smooth. And once it's smooth, it moves on to a fine grit. and then even more fine grit, and then a polish. So yeah, I always like when they have, let's see, maybe if I go up a little bit more, there, should be better. Yeah, so I always like when they have these little red veins running through them, like this one does. So that one will be cool. Let's see, there's another bigger one. So yeah, this one definitely has little pockets of quartz in it in here. Let's see. It'll let me zoom in. Yeah, so that white is a pocket of quartz. Then there's like red stained quartz all through there. That's a nice one, but it still needs quite a bit of time. You can see there's all these holes over here. So let's look at a piece of quartz. So this quartz I got in Bethesda, Maryland. It's not particularly pretty, but so it's got that kind of classic dirty yellow color to it. But it'll take a good shine for sure. So here we're back with Chert. Zoom back out a little. So here's another piece. It's a lot like that other blue one we saw. These may have come from the same rock and just broken apart. Yeah, this side's just about perfect. You can see there's some little holes there, but those will probably just always be there. There's not really much you can do about it. Some rocks have just little lines of holes that run all the way through. Let's see, so here's a cleaner piece of quartz. This one I cut a teeny tiny slab of it. Just a nice clean white. So this will definitely be a good one when it's done. So I like to tumble rocks. So these are rocks that have been tumbling in a big 12-pound tumbler for at least a week, most of them quite a bit longer than that. So this is a piece of chert. It's like a leftover slab of chert that I cut. This is kind of a cool one because it has all these pockets of quartz in it, which is kind of unusual. It's not something I'm particularly accustomed to. So yeah, this one should take a nice polish. Let's see, and then here's one. It's a cleaner quartz. So the last one we saw was this kind of ugly yellow. This one also came from Bethesda. It's a lot cleaner. It still has those fractures though, and it's pretty milky, so it's not clear quartz. Right here, it's a little bit smoky almost, but that will take a wonderful polish. Quartz usually does. Yeah, this might be our cleanest piece of quartz, or clearest piece of quartz rather. It's not that clear, but it's taking a nice shape on. There's still some bruising up here that needs work. So yeah, that one will be nice when it's polished. Let's move on. Let's go back to, this is another one of those pieces of chert that has been in here a really long time, but this hole is finally starting to smooth out, and that's what I've been waiting for. I have a vibratory tumbler that I use for the next stages. The rough grit I don't like to use in the vibratory tumbler. Hey Edward, good to see you again. I wonder if that's a little teeny tiny bit of quartz. Let's see. Another just milky quartz. A little bit boring. Milky quartz is all over the place, so it's nothing. It's not too special, but it's kind of cool. This one is probably ready to move on. See, it's still it's got this teeny tiny little crack. I may move it on anyway. Do you have a rock tumbler, Edward? No, it's got that little spot too. Yeah, that's a neat little piece of chert though. Hey, James. So did you take just like raw rock that you put in at stage 2 without, rounding it out or anything first? I know some people do that. It's not something I've done before though. So I guess those are all a bunch of little fractures in there, but it makes for a cool pattern. What type of vibratory tumbler did you get? The one I have is a mini sonic. It's got a cool little range of color. And on the back, it's much brighter. Let's see. Yes, so I cut them into shapes. I haven't finished. So I haven't made it into a cabochon yet. I've just cut out my shape that I'm going to use. But yeah, and then I have another piece of it somewhere around here. But yeah, so this is a petrified palm tree. So that'll be pretty cool when it's done. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I wish I could have found a good deal on like a used tumbler, but yeah, so this one, I like it's like a Rorschach's test almost. The weird little like abstract painting patterns there. Yeah, so that one's pretty cool. Let's see, more quartz. Yeah, not the prettiest again, but it's different. I don't really have much quartz. This is almost like an orange. Yeah, that's the nice thing. I had a cheap vibratory tumbler that I ended up selling to somebody just because it was so loud. The mini sonic uses magnets. No, that's fine. Petrified wood is a rock. The mini sonic uses magnets, so it's a little bit quieter, but it's still kind of loud. I turn it off when I'm in the basement doing this, checking on the rocks and stuff. This one's cool. I like that little red bit. And then here's one. This is just finished up its first week. I love this vein of quartz that runs right through there. So I have a lot of quartz that I've tumbled that looks like this. It's pretty cool that this is the best example I've seen with like a vein that runs through it before. So pretty excited about this one. Let's try and do some bigger ones. All right, so here's that weird chert. Hey, Liz. So these mostly, so a lot of the quartz, like these pieces, all came from along the Cabanjon River in the Bethesda, Potomac, Maryland area, so just outside DC. And then all of the chert came from Rockingham County, Virginia. Yeah. I like this just like weird, chaotic crisscrossing pattern up here. That's a cool one. So here's one that had a lot of like ugly crust over on this side that's finally wearing away. The rest of it is a very nice, just like generic, deep gray, deep blue chert. Let's see. Here's another piece of... Really? I don't watch very many live streams. So these, some of them have been in here for weeks. This quartz, I think, has just been in here 1 week. But some has been in here for 6, 7, 8 weeks. And it just kind of takes as long as it takes. This is an interesting little piece of quartz. So a lot of this quartz, when I got it, had this like thick layer of mud on the exterior. Here's a piece that I haven't tumbled yet. And so I cut some of them to see what was inside, but some of them have been a surprise. So I was not expecting that kind of red that we saw in the last one. Yeah. My fiance always says that these remind him of like kidney stones, the color. Yeah, this one's, I like this one, but it has so many fractures running through it that I don't know how well it will do. Let's see. This one's been in here a while, but I wish it would just break in half. Maybe I'll use my saw to cut it. But yeah, this crevice runs most of the way through it, so that won't polish without some help. Oh, this one fractured right there this past week. It was so close to being done before. Oh well. Yeah. Let's see. Glass is pretty cool. I haven't really tumbled much glass myself, but I know you can use a tumbler to make like a beach glass or whatever at home. This one's, I just wish this part would smooth out, because I like this, like veins on a leaf, but the wrong color. Let's see, this one seems to fracture each and every week, but this week, nothing new broke off, it looks like. So maybe that one won't be a problem. I still don't know if this is chert per se, but a piece of it did break off that I finished polishing. Gray camo print. Let's see. So this is the one that's still rough. Here's what a broken off piece of it looked like once it polished. There we go. So it will polish really well. Maybe it is chert. It wasn't perfect, but this one kept fracturing. You can see all these lines keep breaking. So once I got it close to a good shape, I figured it was time to move it on. Let's see. Here's another one that may need to break along this seam here. is eventually it's going to break. It's pretty cool. All right. Another ugly quartz. Ooh. Pretty clear quartz. No. What, you think the quartz was pretty? It's got this little neat fleck of like a very dark green. Wonder what it is. Ooh. It's pretty cool. This one's coming along pretty well. Ooh, a nice deeper red. That'll be cool. My one lonely piece from Richmond cracked. So sad. Womp womp. Here's my fake Polish flint. So I was really upset about this one. It used to be, let's see, probably all of these were one big rock, and then last week it broke into a bunch of little pieces. But yeah, in Poland they have really cool chert or flint that has this pattern to it, so call it my fake Polish flint. So these are mostly chert. Some of them are quartz. Let's see. So this one was so close, but then this bit over here looks like it just fractured off because it's not very smooth. It's frustrating. Oh, this is a cute little one. Probably move it on to the next stage to polish. Oop. So this one is a bit of a problem child. I don't know that it will, it seems like maybe it's kind of soft or something. Bits keep fracturing off every week. It's kind of a cool pattern. I have to decide what to do with it later. It's another piece of the quartz. This one's from Bethesda again. Ooh. So this is the sort of quartz that I like. It's got, and a lot of the neat pattern and stuff is caused by fractures, but I like that it's pretty clear, but it's got various colors. So if you have a rotary tumbler, so one that just spins, the sound isn't too bad. It's the vibrating ones are real loud. I keep mine in the garage, which helps. Or if you have like a utility closet. Some people will build like boxes for them to try and muffle the noise. And I put like a square of carpet down. Actually, I think I have two with like a rubber base underneath the tumbler to try to cut down on some of the noise, because the noise will vibrate kind of through the concrete on my garage floor. This is a neat quartz. So that seems to help some. It also helps that I live in a townhouse, so my garage is like in the basement, basically. And the bedrooms are all the way upstairs on the top floor, so there's quite a bit of space between me and the tumblers most of the time. This one's just about ready. Maybe one more week. I don't really know what this sort of pattern is called. I assume this is quartz. It's got all these teeny tiny pockets. It's kind of cool though. Thank you, Pumbaa. Yeah, no problem, Liz. Anytime. It's a cool little pattern. It's like a night sky, kind of. Yeah, it's fun to see week to week how much these change. This one changed quite a bit, I'm sure. I don't remember what it looked like before. This one I was worried about. You can see there's still some fractures in it, but it looks like maybe I'll get a nice smooth shape at some point. So if I use a wet saw to cut the kind of rougher exterior off or get a shape that I like, it might take 2 or 3 weeks in the rough grit before I move it on. And then it'll take like a week and a half maybe from there. Some of these though have been in here for 8-9 weeks and are still not quite done. Yeah, the ones that still have like cracks and stuff are gonna go back in the barrel. The ones that are nice and smooth all the way around, I set aside and I do in batches in my tumbler for the next stage. So you start off with a rough grit, and then there's like a medium grit and a fine grit, and then a polish in the end. So these, as they dry off, are not as pretty. It's like, you can see like once it starts to dry off, it just looks a little boring. So the water is helping see what it will kind of look like when it's polished, basically. Oh, this poor rock. There's a rock stuck in that hole. Another little bit of quartz. It's more of that yellowy quartz. This is a neat piece of chert. So I'm waiting for this side here that's real rough to grind down some more. I'm gonna stand up instead of sitting in my chair. My arms are getting tired. There we go, much more comfortable. It's a nice one. No, ask away. It's fun to chat. So most of these I find locally. Sometimes, like if I go visit family, I might stop at like a creek or something and pick up some rocks to bring home with me and try tumbling. Like this is not a great rock for tumbling because it has so many like deep cracks and little pockets and everything. It's probably never going to smooth out all the way. There are also places where if there's a type of rock that you're interested in, you can buy them online. Yeah, so this one's quartz. It's just like a generic. I'm not quite sure what's causing all the yellow staining to it. Let's see. Do this one. So here's another piece of chert. So it usually forms in beds of limestone here. And that's kind of the limestone color on this tan. It's a pretty cool one. This one's also quartz. Oh, thank you. Here's another bigger piece of chert. I always like the different patterns. Like this one's got some like waves in it. Yeah, so here's some more quartz. That's probably just dirt that we'll clean up. That's in all the crevices. Yeah, so we're down to some of the small rocks. Let's see. Here's more quartz. Chert. So C-H-E-R-T. It's also called flint. So chert's like standard, I guess, color is probably something like this, like the brown or a gray that you see here. But it often has a bunch of impurities in it that will alter the color. So yeah, so this is chert, but then over here, this, I think that's just dirty water. This part, it's still very rough and like a sand-like texture. It hasn't, this portion wouldn't take a good polish if I put it onto the next stage. So it needs to go back in. This one, this little bit fractured off. So yeah, you get all sorts of cool patterns in chert. This one is slowly, that very rough patch has slowly been grinding down, so it's looking much better. Do I make stone animals? No, it'd be cool. I don't have the tools that I'd need though. See, so we're down to mostly tiny ones. Let's do a few at a time. Ooh. This one's cool. I always love the spider web pattern that runs through some of these. And some quartz. Another piece of quartz here. A piece of chert. Yeah, so that's the kind of banding pattern in the chert that I always like. All right, so I'm gonna put these back in, and then I'll go through later and decide exactly which ones need to move on and which ones need more time in the barrel. But until then, so I'll check on them again next week, since I do this every week. This week I have a fun surprise. All right, so I'll move that out of the way. So I finally finished up with polishing some. Let me put down the towel so that it don't get gross and dirty. So these finished polishing just this morning. Yeah, sure. So let's see. I actually have a barrel. Let me get a small one. So you'll get barrels like this. So this is a 3-pound barrel. I usually use a bigger one. That's what I was cleaning out, a big 12-pound barrel, but you can get smaller ones that are less expensive. This one I'm getting ready to do the 3rd stage. So 600 grit. You want to fill it up. I still need to add a few more rocks to this. And then in later stages, I always add these little ceramic pellets just to cushion everything. This one, you want it to be like 2/3 to 3/4 full. This one's maybe just over half full, but you'll fill it up and then add a couple scoops of grit. And then once you have your grit in there, you make sure you add water. I've made the mistake of forgetting water. Let's see. Sorry, I'm running all over the place. So your barrel has this lid. And you just kind of slide it in. It's all rubber. And then you put the lid on top. Yes, Pride Month. Happy Pride, everyone. Hey, Death. And then you'll tighten it. So you would obviously have grit in there, but once you've got it on tight, you just stick it on this machine that spins. It has a little rubber bar, or a metal bar that's covered in rubber, that will slowly make it just kind of roll and roll and roll and roll. And then after a week, you dump it out and you check on it. And hopefully your rocks look better than they did when you put them in. So let me put this back away. So I hope that helps. Let me know if any of that didn't make sense, Liz, and I can try and explain a little better. So these came out this morning of my vibratory tumbler. So one other option for a tumbler is, yeah, you let it run 24 hours a day for like a full week. So this is a vibratory tumbler. So it's a big rubber barrel. You don't use nearly as much water with it. It doesn't take nearly as long. And the machine just kind of like shakes it really hard. And it makes it spin. But vibratory tumblers are a lot louder. So the one that just rolls is a lot quieter. Let's see. So these came out of my tumbler this morning. So they are freshly polished. So these are always really cool. They look like old maps when they have these like lines on them. Yeah. Sorry, I should have sent you a message so you could be first one in, Death. But yeah, this one came out really neat. There's a few others. It's like this blue one. This one I really like. I moved it along earlier than I normally would. It's like there's some, you can see there's a little chip there still. And there's like a line that runs through there. But I really like that there's all this blue and white on one side. And I know if I'd run it through, if I'd run it through the rough grit another time, this red would probably be gone, since it looks like it's really only on the edge there. So I moved it along earlier than I needed to, just to make sure I got it looking good. Got the colors that I wanted and everything. That one's pretty cool. This one I was worried was going to be too porous because it looked like it had teeny tiny holes, and it does have teeny tiny holes that were kind of difficult. So you can see the polish didn't come out of those holes, but you have to kind of zoom in to really see that. So I think it turned out better than I expected. But maybe I didn't set expectations high enough. Here's another neat one. So this set had a bunch that were not perfect when I put them in, or when I moved them along to the next stage. Kind of as an experiment, just to see, you know, how well will it work even if I don't wait for the perfect shape. And I think they went pretty well. Let's see. Sorry, I spent all day driving and my back hurts. I'm trying to find a comfortable way of sitting and doing this. So I keep moving my light. Yeah, I always love the range of colors with Chert. Here's kind of your generic. This is probably as generic as Chert gets, this piece here. It's got that nice dark gray and those kind of limestoney colors on the edge. But you can get all sorts of fun patterns. And it always takes a nice shine. Yeah, red jasper would be really pretty. Yeah, this one I probably could have... Maybe I should have done another day or two in another stage. It looks like it didn't quite polish perfectly there, but that's okay. So here's some more of those lines that I always love. You can see those little pockets, the air pockets. Do you want me to make weird noises too while I go through these? So yeah, this one just has like little etchings almost. Pretty cool. Some nice dark. Yeah, so you can see. So I call it porous when a rock has these little little tiny air pockets. Like you zoom in and it looks almost like a sponge. You have to be careful with rocks that have those little holes just because they might carry over leftover grit from one stage to the next and make polishing difficult. So you have to do a good job cleaning in between if you have rocks that aren't perfectly smooth. Like this one has this little thing here. Let's see. I don't know what this is. I thought it was Chert when I put it in, but it doesn't look like anything else. Yeah, I do have one. It's like a tiny one, but yeah, normally I'll put rocks in like real hot water and let them sit and then use the ultrasonic on them to clean out any polish that's still there. Tooth. Yeah, it does look like a dinosaur tooth or something. This one's pretty cool. Or sometimes if it's really stuck in there, I'll use, it's a, what do you call it? A water pick. The like thing that you use to clean out in between your teeth. And it usually kicks the little pocket right out. Yeah, it's like this one had little cracks still, but I moved it along anyway. I think it turned out good though. So that's everything that I tumbled this week. Oops, here's one more. I really like the light kind of gray blue here. So now I've just got to figure out what to do with this giant piece of chert that won't fit anywhere. I guess I can hit it with a hammer. So if you want to start rock tumbling and you don't know where to start, depends a bit on your budget. I started off with the Harbor Freight. Yeah, take hammer. I started off with a Harbor Freight rock tumbler, the $70 one that has 2 3-pound barrels. It's not the best build quality, very cheap imported machines. But yeah, I should make a short breaking that rock. But I mean, the Harbor Freight one does really well for the price. It will wear out eventually. Tone, like Edward said, it's a much higher quality brand. I have one that I bought off someone in the 80s. Like, well, they bought it in the 80s and I bought it from them like 2 or 3 years ago. And I spent maybe $20 replacing the wires nonstop. But other than that, I haven't had issues with it. I've been doing this a few years now, probably 3 or 4. But yeah, if you're not sure how committed you are, I would get a Harbor Freight rock tumbler. If you know this is something you really want to do, I would think about whether you want a few 3-pound barrels or if you want to get like a big 6 or 12-pound barrel. And from there, make your decision. Kingsley North carries just about every brand. You can at least look at the different brands of rock tumblers there. Yeah, so if you're not too concerned about the expense, I use the 12-pound, I think it's pronounced Tumbler. Tumblers. Old brand, theirs are all painted red, like a bright red. It's lasted many years now for me without any issues. Every now and then you have to replace the giant, basically rubber band that keeps everything moving. They wear out over time, but that's kind of to be expected with machines. So I don't think that's an issue with the tumbler itself. I think that's more an issue with rubber. But yeah, definitely give it a try. There's also the Rock Shed, sells some brands. Once you pick one out, I would just kind of Google, where to buy it. Yeah, that's the other thing. If you decide you're not into rock tumbling, there will be someone nearby who will pay close to the full purchase price for a nice used 12-pound tumbler or whatever. So yeah, as long as you have the money to spare and you're not concerned about it, I would definitely look at some of the nicer brands. Well, I guess that's all I have today. So I'll see everyone soon. If nothing else, I'll see you next week. Hey, just to finish checking up on more of that Chert and Quartz that we tumbled today. So the end product. So I have a bunch of these like glass. Let's see. So I have a bunch of these glass displays. And so I'll fill them up with chert or with quartz or red, white, and blue rocks for July 4th or red and green rocks for Christmas. And I just kind of rotate them around on my desk at work or around the house and just kind of display them. So nothing too crazy. Yeah, have a good night, and I'll see all of you again soon. Feel free to shoot me a message anytime. I'm happy to try and answer questions. Yeah, check out some of my other videos, and I'll see you again later. Bye.